Hey everyone, Lickety Split here. Today working on a game from Middle-earth strategy battle games from Lord of the Rings, The Path of Cirith Ungol, Shelob, and Gollum. And of course, Frodo. First color we're going to be using today is going to be some volupus pink. And we're going to be painting this on all the pink flesh around Shelob's face. Okay, I'm going to finish this up and be back. Okay, the next color I'm going to be using is some Nazdrag yellow, and we're going to be painting these little bulbous scar tissues that Shelob has here. Some near her head here, like so, and some are over here. Okay, I'll finish this up and be back. Okay, one area I forgot to do with the volupus pink is Shelob's mouth in here. You don't have to do this. You can just cover it with a skin color like I'll show you later. But I kind of wanted to do this to have something a little different. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, on our next color is going to be some black Templar, and we're going to be using this to paint the rocks that Shelob's standing on. Now, one tip for when you're putting this together is that these feet glue attach directly to these rocks. So what I did is I attached the feet to the rocks first, and then I attached the rocks to the base. So then I have to fiddle around with it and end up working pretty good. So that's just a suggestion for when you're assembling it. Okay, I'm going to finish up these rocks and I'll be back. Okay, we're going to move on to the next color. Our next color is going to be some Black Legion. And we're going to use this to cover all the rest of Shelob. Just go around the areas you painted in her face, in the volupus pink and the Nazdrag yellow. Just go ahead and go around them. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and finish her up and be back. Okay, we're going to move on to our next color. Next color is going to be some Agrax Earthshade, and we're going to put this over portions of Bilbo, or Frodo. Jeez, long movies. Make sure to stay off his toes. He's got his little toes exposed here at the end. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and grab some Athonian Camel Shade. And put it on there. So we finish covering it. and go over the that direction. Not a problem, but just make sure we don't cover up his toes. Okay, on to our next step. Okay, our next step is going to be some Reichman flesh shade, and we're going to put this all over Gollum's flesh. It's okay if you go a little bit over the rocks and the loincloths, because we're going to paint those in darker colors, which should just go right over it, but if you can avoid it, avoid it. Okay, I'm going to finish up and be right back. Okay, on to our next color. Our next color is going to be Carroburg Crimson. And we are going to go ahead and do this over the part where we put the lupus pink earlier. Should be a little face. I mean, this little in her mouth here. Okay, I'll be back for the next color. Okay, we're going to go on to our next color. Next color is going to be some Agrax Earthshade. And we're going to put this on the Nazarag yellow that we did before. Right here. And of course right over here. And I'll finish this up and be back. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next color. And our next color is going to be a 1-to-1 mixture of Shai's Purple and Lamian Medium. And we're going to put this all over the black shiny bits. Her carapace and her legs and mandibles and stuff like that. This will give it a deep, rich color, dark color with a little purplish tint. Kind of like a Black Widow is the way I kind of envision it. So we'll just spread this over nice and easy. Okay, I'll finish this up and be back. Okay, we'll move on to our next color. Next color is some Carrick Stone, and we're going to use this on the dry brush on the rocks. Just use it to highlight and accentuate a little bit. Don't leave a ton on your brush. It's better to have a little less on your brush so you can build it up than have too much on your brush. Be careful when you go around the feet. And we can kind of make the rock lighter around the feet. That will help draw a distinction. Alright, I'm going to finish these rocks up and be back. Okay, on the next color, while we're still waiting for that Shai's Purple to dry, we're going to go ahead and finish up the rocks and hit it with a light dry brush of some Tyrant Skull to catch the higher points. Okay, I'm going to finish this up and be back. Okay, we're going to move on to the next color. We're still waiting for that Shai's Purple to dry, so we're going to work on our little pink parts here, and we're going to hit it with some Pink Horror. Just go very lightly over it, just to catch, probably a little much, just to catch the higher points. Not much. Okay, we're going to move on to the next color and be back. Okay, we're going to move on to the next color. Our next color is going to be some Kislev Flesh. And we're going to use this to catch Frodo's toes. Okay, we'll be back with the next color. Okay, we're going to move on to the next color. Next color is going to be some deepkin flesh. And we're going to use this over Gollum's skin. Just very lightly dry brush to catch the... No, that's too much. Take a little bit more off the brush. Just very lightly so it catches the ridges. And it's so small that you don't want to put too much on there because you'll overwhelm them real quick. And there we go. And we'll be back with the next color. Okay, move on to the next color. Next color is going to be a mixture. It's a 1-to-1 of Cygor brown and contrast medium, and we're going to use this over Gollum's loincloth. I like to add a little bit of, you know, a little bit of contrast to the Cygor brown. I'm doing something like this because then it thins it down a little bit. It makes it more contrasting. It runs really well into the recesses and gives you a nice highlight just straight off the bat. Okay, we'll finish this up and be back. Okay, on our next color, our next color is going to be a little Carolberg Crimson. And we're going to run this over Gollum's scars on the back. Okay, we'll finish this up and be back. Okay, we'll move on to our next color. Our next color is going to be some gnome oil. And we're going to use this on Gollum's hair. A little more than that, probably. Oops. Alright, I'm going to finish this up and be back. Okay, we're going to move on to the next color. Next color is going to be some more black Templar. We're going to do these rocks that Gollum's climbing on, just like we did the rocks for Shelob. Okay, I'm going to finish this up and be back. Okay, we're going to move on to the next color. Next color is going to be a little Ministratum Gray, and we're going to use this to help paint Gollum's hair. Okay, I'll finish this up and be back. Okay, we're going to move on to the next color. Next color is going to be some black Templar. I'm going to put this in Gollum's mouth and his eyes. Okay, on to our next color. Okay, on our next color. Next color is some Black Legion. And we're going to use this for Shelob's eyes. So we'll go in each one of his eyes, put a little bit in there. Not too much. Just enough to cover the eyeballs. Okay, move on to the next color. Okay, we're going to move on to the next color. Next color is going to be some T'Challa Lilac, and we're going to use this to add another highlight, very gentle, to Shelob's face, to her pink areas here, and a little bit in the mouth there. Just like that. Alright, we'll move on to the next color and be back. Okay, on the next color. Next color is going to be some Rust Gray. And we're going to use this as a dry brush to bring out highlights in Shelob. So just go along nice and easy. Don't do too much. Don't do too hard. We're going to move on to our next color. Next color is going to be some gray sear. And we're going to use this to stipple it on. Kind of like in the pattern that Shelob has on the box art as where the pink is. So we're just going to work it on there and stipple it on there. And build it up. Until we're satisfied with how it looks as compared to the box art. And all this is a medium layer brush that older one that I cut the bristles off on the edge and use it to dab it on the for stippling like that. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, move on to our next color. Next color is going to be a 1-to-1 ratio of Lamy medium to the lupus pink, and we're going to be doing a glaze on this area that we just did. And so that means that we don't want very much on our brush. That might be a little much, like so you can barely see it, so we can slowly go over here and slowly build it up. It's going to take a little bit because we're glazing it, right? So you're just adding a very little bit of color with each layer. A little bit here. And there you can see it, so we're going to go ahead and build it up. Slowly but surely. Whoops. Drop my brush. You're going to have to experiment a little bit with how much is on your brush. It's better to have too little than too much, because we're trying to slowly build that up. Alright, I'm going to finish this up and be back. We'll move on to our next color. Next color being some pink horror, and we're going to be stippling this into that area we just glazed with the volupus pink. Just to bring out a little bit more. Make it kind of stand out a little more. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, on to our next step. So after I painted the base with some Vallejo Scorched Brown, Vallejo game color Scorched Brown, I'm going to go ahead and put on some Vallejo European Mud. This is the one I have. Just a texture. You can use whatever textured one you like. This is just one I have, one I've used before, and I like the way it turns out. So I'm going to go ahead and use this one, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on all the bases, and then I'll be back with the next step. Okay, I'm going to show you one last step I like to do after I varnish with something like this. I'll hit it with the Tester's dull coat, and then I'll come back in with some Vallejo gloss varnish, and I'll put it where I want it to shine, like the eyes of Shelob, or I do it on gems as well. The other thing I want to talk about is how I did the base. Of course, I used the Vallejo European Mud to do it. I put it on there, and then I dry brushed it just like I did the rocks with some Carrick Stone and then some Tyrant Skull. And then I took these little tufts from Army Painter Detna tufts and added them to them a couple of places. But all the bases are done with that that Vallejo European mud, which I generally do this step here when I put the basing material on there. It looks like the last thing I do when I get ready to wrap up for the night, because then it lets it dry overnight. Okay, I'll be back.
Thanks very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe, as it really helps the channel out. I try to focus on quick and easy techniques that give you the most bang for your buck. It may not win your golden demon, but we'll get you on a tabletop looking good, lickety split. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.